Hi guys, I'm Schroff, this is Skunkworks, and we're here at my studio, and we're going to take you through relatively quickly, we've only got about 10 minutes on the YouTube video, how we made our #1 hit dubstep track, Shadowboxing, which is currently running #1 on the dubstep charts, so track it down. If you haven't bought it, go get it now, much appreciated. This track features the amazing vocal talents of Lonnie Lincoln, so go check her out on Facebook, show her some love. And yeah, we started this track in Ableton, and in Ableton we sort of got all our main programming down, rough levels, and basically took it into Cubase for the final mixdown. We're going to start with the drums first of all. Used Ableton obviously, so I really like the drum rack that comes with Ableton, and we just use that. So if you have a look here, if our celebrity cameraman can zoom in, try and get some screenshots as well afterwards. These are all the drums for the track. So you've got your kicks, our snare. If you look here, our snare is actually made up of 3 different snares. If I play them together, you get that. Then you just got your hi-hats and your little percussion bits. So yeah, have a look, and what you find here is, if we go through one by one the main drum sounds, we'll just look at the kick first of all. We've got the kick sample here. That was pretty much already EQ'd, it didn't sound too bad, so I didn't do too much to it. Check over here, I've just added an EQ just to take out the very, very low end sub. Added a transient shaper just to give it a bit more top end with the attack. The drive actually acts as a limiter. It's very transparent, it just squashes the shit out of it. It's really good. After that, added a little bit of EQ with the 550 API. If you look there, just 4 dB boost at 100 Hz. Nothing else going on there. After that, run through a generic Ableton compressor. If you look here, it's actually got almost no gain reduction there. It's just just for safety measures basically. Yeah, what we've got here are the snares. So we look at the first snare. I've got various EQs and compressors on that first snare. Again with the transient shaper. Where's he gone? There he is on that side. Transient shaper again, just adding some nice sort of hit to it. Kind of limited quite hard there. I tend to leave the release alone. And if we move on to the second snare, you'll see a very similar process sort of happening here. The snares will then go to a group snare, so I can just sort of treat them as one thing. So that's sort of beat on its own. We've got this special reverb that Sammy likes a lot. I love it as well. It's the Reactor 5 Spring Tank. If you want to get your rubber dub reverbs on, look no further. And yeah, it's just fat basically. So that's our drums, and like I said, we bus them to this one drums bus here. And again, if our cameraman zooms up on the group, there's nothing really going on because it sounded fine. I literally just put a limiter on it just to catch any peaks. So you'll see it literally just limiting when the snare comes in, really. Yeah, and that just makes mixdown a hell of a lot easier. You're going to limit all your buses and all your individual bits. You don't want to squash the life out of them, but a good bit of limiting just keeps your meters when it comes to mixdown nice, under control, nice and manageable. Right, so that was our drums bus basically. We changed the beat a little bit when we actually brought it into Cubase, just chopping up the audio from other sections, but in a nutshell that's basically how we did the drums. One last thing on the drums, if you notice here, here's the drums bus. Send A is whacked all the way, so if we check out what's going on Send A here, one of my favourite plugins to use is this bad boy here, the Dada Life Sausage Fattener. You know, it does what it says on the tin, but it can be really, really hard which is why I don't like to use it on the actual channel itself. So what we've got here is an example of parallel compression, or parallel distortion, or parallel limiting, and I think the sausage fattener does all three of those in one sort of thing. So it's the mother of all parallel processing, in my opinion. And I've just cut some low end off just before it hits there, so the sub's not getting too crazy or nothing. So that's pretty much the drums, which again will bring us to the bass line. So let's look at it down here. Our bass line is made up of how many basses? So here's the bass group. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 synth parts all answering and talking to each other to make that single bass line. So let's solo all of them one by one and just take you through exactly how it sounds. Actually, we'll play the whole drop, and then you can see what we use for the bass lines. Again, the drum beat's going to be a little different to how it is on the record, but you'll see anyway. So here it is on it all together. Excuse me. Cool. If that sounds really rubbish and distorted on your speakers, then go and buy the track basically, and you'll hear it in its full. So the bass lines, the bass group solo. So this is just the basses, all of the basses on their own. And so on. So
climbing up harmonically.
Yeah, climbing up harmonically, got a few different voices. I mean, yes, we are guilty of using the M-Talk waveform from Massive on this track. Haven't really used it since. It's become a bit of a rinse out, but it works, it does the job, and the kids love it, so we put it in there. So we'll start with the first bass sounds. It's literally just one note. Any of you dubstep producers out there will kind of recognize that as the scrapyard waveform on the Massive. So this is the chain for this sound. It is Massive, scrapyard waveform, LFO5 on a 2/4. That's it. No filter, no other waveform. Bish bash bosh. Pretty easy. What I've got going on here is fab filter, taming the EQs on that. Homicide really giving it its character. Camel fat on top of the homicide, just to put my own sort of sprinkles on it. Now on the camel fat, I always reset the plugin, add all the distortions on it, but just a tiny bit. The secret is, you know, turn 11 knobs to 1 instead of 1 knob to 11, and you get a much cleaner sort of distortion. You see the compressors on there a little bit as well, and sometimes I'll even use the bandpass because it's a bad boy. And yeah, I mean, that's it for that sound. Check out the homicide quickly. You can see this is a bass sound, so I handle my subs all together separately with a completely separate sub patch, so I just kill all the subs on this, and I'm sort of boosting various different levels there. It's a really good plugin. If you don't have it, you're making dubstep, you need it basically. Right, second bass sound. I'm going to solo this one, and it kind of goes on in a second with melody, and then up again. And again, these all work together with each other, so I'm not, let's see, yeah, I'm not going to show you that patch because it's a bad secret. So we put a sort of similar EQ on that, again just getting rid of sort of a lot of the mids. It's a bit sort of muddy. Again, the homicide, pretty similar chain. It might even be a straight copy of the patch. Yeah, pretty much the same. And again, a camel fat. So you'll find I'm duplicating a lot of these effects chains, however the patch and Massive is different. What that gives you is a sort of consistency amongst the sort of uniqueness, if you like.